We are now on item 2, the President's Report, and as a reminder, this meeting is recorded and will be available for later viewing on sfgovtv.org.
Thank you, Ashley. Today is going to be a very full meeting. We're going to have moments of solemn and sadness, as well as moments of celebration. And we all intend to be very respectful here and to make sure everyone is remembered and everyone is honored. We have lost 4 brethren. We're going to have an opportunity to share about each of them. We have lost our fellow Commissioner, Larry Griffin, our colleague in Recon Park, Paul Naughton, a person important to Recon Park, Zion Williams, and another colleague, Shawn Porter. There will be several people that will talk about Larry Griffin. Phil is going to talk about Paul Naughton. I'm going to share about Zion and Shawn. Is that all right, Phil? Okay. So, Ashley, is everyone that we were hoping might be here for Larry here?
Yes. Nobody from his immediate family is here, so it'll just be us today, but they have,
Okay.
they're watching.
Okay. So, on our communications team, Ryan Kelly has put together a video remembrance about Larry. So when we get an opportunity to have it queued up, which is that imminent now, Ashley?
Yes, it is.
Please go ahead then, and we'll start with this.
One second.
I knew Larry Griffin for over 40 years, and I knew him when he was active in the community, and I hadn't seen him in a number of years, and I was delighted when the mayor appointed him to the Rec and Park Commission. About Larry, I said to my wife, I said, but the sad part is we're going to be saying goodbye to a wonderful man. And she said, well, what was he like? And I mentioned just 2 words. He was a sweet man, and he was a gentle man. And she said, with those skills, he had it all.
I'm a native San Franciscan, and I went to Roosevelt Junior High School right down the street. And I happened to learn how to swim at Rossi Pool. Not on the first try, but maybe on the second or third try. I welcome you all back to this classic pool. Good old Rossi, come on back. Fascinating. Yesterday I had to go by the lodge to pick something up, and there was a little confusion, so I was outside for a little while, and just the smell of the eucalyptus, the smell of the redwood tree, it just, I don't know, it just brought up old San Francisco to me. So I just wanted to share that. That's all.
That is a beautiful video. Thank you, Ryan and team, for that. We are going to adjourn. Let me do my thing. Yes. Okay. We are going to adjourn this meeting in Larry Griffin's honor. And each of the commissioners are going to speak if they would like. Phil will speak, and we also have a special candle celebration that Commissioner Louie has set up. So I'm going to reflect later on, so I'm going to move on and allow, I haven't had any requests to speak. Okay, Phil, go ahead.
Thank you, Commissioner Anderson. Obviously, pretty hard to be here and to see Larry's chair empty. I'll offer a quick reflection, and then Commissioner Louie has asked me to share a secular prayer for to recite before Commissioner Louie lights a candle in Commissioner Griffin's honor. I've known Commissioner Griffin for a long time, and well before he was a commissioner. I used to be a labor negotiator, and Commissioner Griffin was very involved and active in labor negotiations. And in addition to being just, a wonderful advocate for workers and for labor and really the honor of public service. I always used to see him out on the front steps of City Hall. And the thing that actually resonates most with me about Larry is his belly laugh. There was always a little quip or a little joke or a, hey, how are you? And immediately it was just a chuckle turned into something that was, sort of deep in his kishkas. And that laugh, I guess it's been a week or two since he's passed. I hear that laugh. And so that's how I choose to remember him. And then as a commissioner, as I had the privilege of saying to, I think it was to the Chronicle during for his obituary is, it's been said that 90% of life is showing up. And Larry always showed up for everything. And I think this commission role really mattered to him. He had been on other commissions and had a lot of boards and had a lot of other forms of public service. But it was very apparent to me, and I've been doing this for a long time and have met a lot of and seen and have a lot of colleagues, a lot of commissioners have kind of rolled through this body, and this deeply mattered to Larry. I mean, I think he just took a lot of pride, and I think that clip about talking about him growing up in San Francisco and Rossi Pool where he learned to swim. I mean, it's often said that parks are about creating place. And what is place? Place is connecting the past to the present, and then the present to the future. And you could tell whether he was talking about the smell of eucalyptus being old-time San Francisco or going into Rossi Pool for a ribbon cutting and thinking back to when he learned to swim, that this job, this commission appointment, this role was really a very, very, very deep part of him. And, you never know when your time is up, but it's almost poetic that he was able to serve in this role in the last part of his life because he could make those incredible connections about his childhood, about his growing up, about wanting to make sure that his wonderful experiences were available for the next generation of kids. All of that, you could hear it when he spoke, and the words that he used, you could just see it. So this I think that chair really mattered to him, and he was a wonderful commissioner. And Larry was also Jewish, and he and I for a little while overlapped at the same synagogue Shereth Israel. And when somebody passes in my faith, we ask that for those that are grieving his loss, that his memory is a blessing for us always. That's what we say. We say, may Larry's memory be a blessing for those who are grieving his loss always. And so when you think about him, or when I think about him, I'm going to think about that belly laugh, and I'm going to think about him smelling the eucalyptus trees and thinking about old-time San Francisco and, trying to imagine Larry floundering in Rossi Pool a little bit. All of those things are blessings to hold those memories dear. So Commissioner Louie, if you were going to light the candle. So I'm going to read a little prayer as we light this candle. May this memorial serve as our way to honor and pay tribute to the life of San Francisco Recreation and Park Commissioner Larry Griffin. Larry, you will be greatly missed and never forgotten. It also symbolizes the continuation of the life of Larry in spirit and serves as a reminder that the memory of the loved and beloved Larry Griffin will live on in our hearts, our minds, and our work forever. Thank you, Madam Vice President.
Thank you. Commissioner Jupiter Jones.
Is it okay now, or is it more appropriate to speak?
You can now.
Again? You know, there's surely so many wonderful things to be said and that we will hear today about Larry, but I just really want to reflect on how much he loved this city. He loved his city. And while I can't help but feel like our time working together and the time that I got to spend and learn from him was cut short, just reflecting on what you shared, Phil, of his memory is a blessing. And I learned so much from him just in that short time about how to care deeply and passionately about everyone in this city. And he taught me to consider always everyone, and I will hold that part of him and that legacy with me as, you know, I continue to do all this work and continue to work on behalf of the city that we all love so much. So I'm really grateful for that time. And he will be missed, but he will be with us.
Indeed. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Hallisey.
I first met Larry in the fall of 2021 when he was appointed to the commission. We began as colleagues, but then became friends. And anybody that knew Larry for any length of time knows that it was very easy to be friends with him. I brought him to a USF game at the end of February, this past February. He lived within walking distance of the campus, and he enjoyed it so much he purchased season tickets for this coming year. We spoke often over the past 6 weeks after Larry became ill, and he told me a few weeks ago that he said, "Joe, I'm going to have to step down from the commission." And I said, "Larry, please," I said, please don't do that. We have a very soft schedule in the month of July. We're wide open for August. We're not going to really kick it into high gear again until September. So just hang in there and you'll beat this thing, and you got to stay with us. And I said, "Please do me one favor though. Please let me know when you're about to step down, because I want to talk to you and I want to talk you out of it." And, but as Phil said, the commission isn't just about meetings, committee meetings, full commission meetings. It's about public events. And he hated to miss anything, any event. Where the reopening of a park was really high on his list, but any other get-together where he could represent the commission, Larry was there. And the only reason he decided that maybe he was going to have to step down was because of the type of man he was, the type of character he had, the worker that he was. If he wasn't doing something 100%, he thought it best to pass it on to somebody else. I'll leave you with one other quick story about Larry. Larry sat next to me here, to my left. And from time to time, I wear loud socks. And the first time Larry saw these socks, he asked me, "Are you wearing those so that I don't fall asleep during the meetings?" And we just had a running gag with that. But this man, I would say this was a great man. That's the way I look at him. And he was a great San Franciscan. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hallisey. Commissioner Louie.
You know, this Larry Griffin was just, he was a man that was bigger than life itself. And, you know, we all on this commission, we're very just fortunate. And I think he's left us with a message for each other to, you know, anybody that you work with, anybody in the department, General Manager Ginsburg, all of you, you know, make sure that you take the time and actually to say thank you. You know, thank you for your service. You know, it's not like, this is a role, this is an appointment. And why it's so difficult for us on this particular commission, there's so over hundreds of commissions in San Francisco. You know, the Rec and Park Department gets to, together as a community, do wonderful projects to beautify all of San Francisco. And we might meet once a month, we might meet on our committee, but we meet sometimes 10 or 15 times during the month at a park, at an open space, where we get to pay tribute and respect to the department and to beautify San Francisco and to the community. I know we have a lot of things to cover on our agenda today, but the point of the loss of Larry Griffin on this particular commission is exactly what Phil says. May his memory be a blessing. I particularly had we were appointed by the mayor on the same day. We went through rules on the same day. We were sworn in on the same day. We had a party at Harborview in Embarcadero the same night. So we became fast brother and sister. Larry never saw color. He treated everybody fair, nice, and the same. He always had equity in mind. He always had the residents of San Francisco in mind, the voters of San Francisco, and that's how he saw things for all of us. So it is a really great loss. We will continue to lose people that we care about, even in our own family, but there's some people that you have on one hand that will stay a memory, and Larry Griffin is one of them.
Thank you, Commissioner Louie. And we also have a tribute from Commissioner Mazzola Jr. Ashley?
So Commissioner Mazzola asked me to read this for him. I am proud to say that Larry Griffin was a friend of mine and an outstanding person. I have always known Larry to want to help anyone he could. In the labor movement, he dedicated his life to helping people and workers. Larry had a heart of gold, and I was always excited to be around him. We always joked about being the only commission to have two Larrys. I will have nothing but happy and fond memories of a man that I looked up to and feel so lucky to have worked with him in labor and on this commission. He was supportive of all things labor and all things San Francisco. He loved the city and its parks. I will miss him, but always remember him as a class act and a great man. And I know the Vice President wants to say something, but if it's okay, I'd like to just share a little bit about my relationship with Commissioner Griffin briefly. When the mayor appoints a new commissioner, it affects my job very, very much because I interact with all of you every day. And so the first thing I do is I Google them. I didn't know Commissioner Louie or Commissioner Griffin, but when I Googled him, I was like, oh, I know that guy. Because I had worked in City Hall for so long, and like Phil said, he had a belly laugh, and so I remember him all around City Hall talking to people, that big laugh, and I was like, yeah, I know that guy. And when we finally met, he knew me too because he loved cats, which when a grown man loves cats, it really just touches me. And we used to have an event in our office called 12 Days of Kittens, and he would come and pet the kittens. And he loved cats, and his cat Max passed away earlier this year, and he would talk to me about Max, and we talked about adopting a new cat. And he called me every day So when he stopped calling me, I knew, something was wrong. But he called me every single day for the most part. And one of the things that meant a lot to me was that he asked me questions about what I thought about things that were coming before the commission. He asked my opinion, and that meant a lot to me, probably more than he would ever know. The other thing I wanted to say on his behalf is that he really loved being part of the Black Men's Affinity Group. He started going on his own. He saw the meetings in our staff newsletter, and he put them on his own calendar, and he went every month to the Black Men's Affinity Group. And he just loved going, and he felt so honored to be part of that group of men. And he was so proud that our department was so far ahead of the other departments in that work. And he talked about it to me all the time. And so I just want everyone in that group to know how much it really meant to him on a very, very deep level. And then I'll just leave you with this, which is, a hawk landed on his balcony, and he took a picture of it and he sent it to me. And he was just so bowled over by this. And he noticed those little things. And I think that's a really special part of his character, is that he noticed the little things, like the smell of eucalyptus or a hawk on his balcony. So thank you for letting me speak.
That was lovely, Ashley. Thank you. I'd like to say a couple of things. I can't remember a time when I didn't know Larry. I was also a union member and a union leader at the Pacific Media Workers Guild, which is the union for journalists and photojournalists at the Chronicle and other papers, and also very involved in Democratic Party politics. And so I would go to the Martin Luther King labor breakfast, and you could hear Larry before you even walked into the room. His laughter was boisterous and loud and contagious. And I would often just sort of orbit near him just to sort of suck up some of that energy that he put out there. He was someone that we could count on in the labor movement to do the right thing. So yeah, when you met him, you felt like you already knew him. He taught me that the secret to happiness was to be open and adventuresome, determined, and willing to be taught at any time. So for example, one of the last activities I did with Larry was when we were invited to the lawn bowling center, and the lawn bowling club members taught us how to lawn bowl. And because Larry needed to use his cane, they actually said, well, we have a special piece of equipment for you. And it was sort of this stick with a sling, and they were teaching him how to kind of swing that thing. And man, he mastered that right away. And I thought, this is great. And then I turned away and I looked back, and there's Larry back on the ground, feet up in the air. He'd fallen, and I thought it was a really good fall. He didn't hurt himself, but he just got right back up and went back to it and beat all the guys that taught him how to lawn bowl that day. He has such verve. This is the way we should all be, He was ageless, and that has a lot to do with it, I think. I also had a lot of respect for Larry because he had no problem speaking his mind. He's a very direct person, as am I. And sometimes we'd get little snippet with each other. Never lasted very long. One time he said something, I don't know what it was, but I think he could tell I was a little bit perturbed. So he called me later, and he wanted to have a further discussion, and he really asked a lot of questions to try to understand exactly where I was coming from. And I was able to talk with him about where he was coming from. And we agreed to disagree. But I tell you, I had so much respect for that. And I just want to say, too, in this day and age and cancel culture and all that kind of stuff, I really want to commend everybody and get you to think about that. If you disagree with someone, don't fight with them in the open forum. Go and call them and have a conversation and see if there's common ground, because there usually is common ground, and you can at least learn something. You really shouldn't pretend to think you know everything, because you don't. And Larry was real good at sort of demonstrating that important life lesson and following up with folks and making sure nothing festered. And I so respected him for that. I can't tell you. I just want to make sure the other theme about Larry, his baseline was to get along. His baseline was to get to know. His baseline was to love. Again, something I really, really respect. It takes a lot of courage to swim upstream. And Larry had to do that a lot. He had his physical challenges. He often was the voice of the disabled and the seniors on the commission. He really, really wrestled with the whole decision around JFK Promenade. It was agonizing for him. In the end, he did what he felt was right, and he always did what he felt was right. So I just want to thank you, Larry, for everything that you showed us. All right, the next person that we would like to pay tribute to is our Rec Park colleague, Paul Naughton, and Phil has a few things to say.
Sure. Thank you, Commissioner. There are probably some people in this room that I actually am looking out at that knew Paul a lot better than I did. But the way I would start to talk about Paul is with a very quick story about there was a fire drill in City Hall, and I was outside in Civic Center and gathered around a bunch of folks from the Sunset, some old-time San Franciscans, and someone asked me where I went to school, and I told the group where I went to college. And after that, it was actually Greg Sir, who was then the police chief, pulled me aside and said, "Phil, no one around here really cares where you went to college. The question was, where'd you go to high school?" And I realized at that moment that I was not a native San Franciscan. Paul was. Paul grew up in the Sunset. I think there are, again, a big handful of people here that grew up with him, that knew him. He worked for the Rec and Park Department for 20 years. He loved this job. He went to O'Connell, by the way. That's where Paul went to school. And he was beloved, part of the sort of magical fabric that is this city. This city has always been old and new. What has been and what will be is San Francisco's story. And sometimes there are those tensions compete, but those multi-generational San Francisco families that grew up here, parents grew up here, their kids grew up here, they'll never leave here, is what makes this city very special. And Paul was one of those people. He was beloved in our department. He was an active member of Local 261. Beloved in the labor union, took so much pride in his work. And it was really sweet to learn about him a little bit more at the William Hammond Hall Awards that we just held last week, to watch Commissioner Mazzola, Vince Courtney, a handful of William Hammond Hall Award-winning gardeners all get up and say, not only did I work with Paul, but like, you should see what we did in middle school. Like, you know, Paul was a very much a deep part of the fabric of this city. Again, spent 2 generations working in our parks at a time when I hope we all agree, despite some of our value differences about our parks, that our parks are something that our parks are doing pretty well in the city at a time when there are some other pillars and silos that are struggling, and it's because of hardworking people like Paul. And those who knew him, who went to elementary school, middle school, high school, those who worked closely with him, his kids, his family members, his dear friends in the Sunset and at O'Connell, you all are grieving in a way that I can't tap into, and so I wanted to express my deepest sympathies for all of you and say we were very proud to have Paul as a member of the Recreation and Park Department. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. The next person that we would like to honor is a community advocate named Zion Williams. I think family may be in attendance. Grandmother Betty Ricks, Mother Charmaine Williams, and Father Travell Gaines. And, okay, I'm going to call a couple people up here in just a second. Zion was a 20-year-old wonderful skateboarder. He passed away on June 19th. And even though he was blinded in both eyes after being shot in 2021, he continued to pursue his passion of skateboarding and inspiring those around him. He was regularly seen at the skate park on Waller Street in Golden Gate Park, where he was part of the community that pushed for the improvements to the park alongside the Recreation and Parks Department. I would love to call up, I have Betty Ricks and Liz Jackson, and Liz Jackson Simpson. If you ladies would like to come up together, that's fine. And okay. Please introduce yourself, and we would love to hear from you.
Good morning. My name is Betty Ricks. I am Zion's grandmother.
Thank you.
And my name is Liz Jackson Simpson. I'm the CEO of Success Centers and very close friend to Miss Betty Ricks, and remember when Zion was born.
Okay.
We're also, again, daughters of San Francisco, born and raised in the Haight-Ashbury. And I knew Larry very well, so shocked and glad to be here today. So thank you all for honoring everybody today. As you read, Zion was a phenom since he was born. Not only was he a master skateboarder, but a master drummer as well.
Oh, wow.
And
like my
often
son.
played in the community and in church. And it was like everything he endeavored to do, he mastered it just beyond even human understanding. And we would like to, I'm glad, thank you, Ashley. We were really shocked to know and get the quick response that we did. And the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. As part of our nonprofit, Miss Betty has been helping us work with the young ladies up, and we work closely with the juvenile hall and juvenile detention facility, and we've been colleagues for over 30 years. As with Larry, because we do workforce development as well, too. So it's just a phenomenal day. So I want to just turn my time over to Miss Betty, and whatever we can do to figure out how to dedicate that skate park he worked so hard for, count me in.
Thank you.
First, giving honor to God, who's the head of my life. And I also want to honor his parents, Charmaine Williams and Travell Gaines. The subject I'm here for is a request to rename this skate park to maybe Zion Skate Park. Dear honorable members of City Hall, I hope this letter finds you in good health and spirits. I'm writing to you as a citizen and an active community member in San Francisco. I would like to bring your attention to the remarkable life of an ultimate passing of Zion W.R. Gaines, a beloved citizen of our city, and a matter of great importance regarding renaming the Waller City Park to Zion's Skate Park. Zion, a cherished citizen of San Francisco and a shining example of resilience and determination, tragically lost his sight in 2021 due to a senseless act of violence. Despite this adversary, Zion displayed immense courage and perseverance in pursuing his dreams as a professional skateboarder. He became a fixture in the skateboarding community, spending countless hours at San Francisco skate parks, especially that Waller Park. Zion's dedication to skateboarding extended beyond his personal achievements. He actively served on the San Francisco Recreation and Parks Committee and advocated for recent improvements to the Waller Street Skate Park, contributing to his transformation into a vibrant and inclusive space for skateboarders of all ages and skill levels. Zion's commitment was further recognized during the ribbon-cutting ceremony, where he displayed a significant role. It is with deep sadness that I inform you of the ultimately passing of Zion on June 19, 2023. His departure has left a void in the hearts of many, and we believe that renaming the Waller Street City Park to Zion Skate Park or dedicating a portion of the skate park in his honor would be a fitting way to remember his unwavering spirit, invaluable contributions, and lasting impact on the skateboarding in San Francisco communities. By renaming Waller Street Skate Park to Zion Skate Park, we may only pay tribute to Zion's legacy, but also establish a symbol of hope, perseverance, and inclusivity within our city. This dedication would serve as a lasting reminder of the impact of gun violence and the importance of promoting peaceful communities. Moreover, dedicating a specific portion of the park would ensure that his memory lives on and continues to inspire future generations. Could you finish? Right.
Generations of skateboarders, as well as individuals with disabilities. It would be a celebration of Zion's determination and statement to the power of the human spirit. I understand that renaming a public space is a significant decision, and the process involves careful consideration and community engagement. I, along with many others in the skateboard community, and we have many other people here today, the San Francisco community, family, and friends will be more than willing to actively participate in any discussions or meetings regarding this proposal. We are eager to contribute to the process and ensure that Zion's legacy is appropriately honored. I kindly request your support and guidance in pursuing this initiative. I believe that renaming the park to Zion Skate Park will not only be fitting tribute, but also embody the spirit of unity and inclusivity that San Francisco strives to promote. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I look forward to the opportunity to discuss this proposal further and work together towards creating a lasting legacy for Zion WR Gaines within our city. Thank you.
And I also have a binder for you that his mother made.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay.
We would love to see that. Thank you so much. We really appreciate our fellow San Franciscans and our community advocates. We would also like to remember and honor Shawn Porter, who was a recreation facility assistant who passed away on July 16th. Shawn worked in the cultural arts since 2016. He was most recently appointed as a facility assistant at Sharon Art Studio. He also worked as a facility assistant at the Senior Center, Mission Arts Center, and Harvey Milk Photo Center. Shawn loved music and was a beloved figure in the Bay Area electronic music scene and beyond. He was also a 3279 recreation leader who shared his passion for music with children and adults as an instructor at Digital Sound Arts, Albaton, and was excited to teach new synthesizer and beat-making classes in the fall. He worked at our community hubs, assisting with distance learning at Minnie and Levy Ward, Jolie, and Mission Arts Center. He was always willing to lend a helping hand, troubleshooting our audiovisual needs, setting up for events, or face painting for Halloween. His kindness and generosity will be missed. And if that is it's okay with everybody, we're going to move on. I don't have anything else to add in the President's report.
Seeing that the President's report is complete, we did already hear from the two folks who filled out a blue card. Is there anyone else who has public comment on the President's report? Okay, is there anyone on our WebEx with their hands raised?
We have somebody in the back that is raising a hand.
Oh, yeah. If you have a comment, please just come on forward.
Yeah, just come on.
And we have no hands raised on our WebEx, so just folks in person.
Thank you. We'd love to hear from you. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Charmaine Williams. I'm Zion's mom. It was hard for me to come today, but after hearing about Larry, which I never met, so my condolences go out to you guys. as far as, even though we're here discussing the matter about, Zion, it was a few things you guys said that I feel like I was led to point out about Larry that brought up stuff for me about Zion, even though they never met, two different spectrum of people. But how you guys mentioned about Larry loving San Francisco. And Zion, for whatever reason, he always loved San Francisco. He was born in San Francisco, but he spent half of his life in New York. But he would come visit my mom, he'd come visit his dad, on the summer vacations. And it was something always about San Francisco for him. I don't know what it was. And I grew up in San Francisco. I grew up in the 80s, though. So I was ready to get out of here after I finished college, to be honest. So I have a whole nother spectrum on San Francisco. But it's kind of like Phil said, it's a place you can't stay away from, like no matter what. And so it's like I came back with family. But when we came back, Zion was so happy. Like it was just like his heart. I get it now. It's something about a San Francisco heart that you have. And it's something that always drew him near. And the fact that he was a skateboarder, he knew everything about the city. It was amazing. Like his friends are here today, also and his aunt and his dad. And so it's a couple of us in the audience. But what I learned about him being a skater, he knew he could be Google's map for San Francisco because it gave an opportunity to go everywhere and to be everywhere. But then I had to realize our journey, it was all to be here, end up here. And I know everybody has an end point, and I know he was young when he passed, and the way he passed is still to me like dignity. It's still, he left a legacy, he left a mark, and Phil, this is my first time seeing Phil, but we have email exchange all the time about Zion, and it was Park and Rec that, wanted to include him in Park and Rec, and it was getting ready to be hired. I think he was going to start working the following week before he passed to work at Waller, to be assistant with the young skateboarders. And so he had all these things that he was involved in with Waller, but I want you guys to know how important Waller was to Zion from day to day. He woke up every day. His first lesson when he was going to Lighthouse Blind School, his first mission, he asked the teacher to show him how to get bus route to Waller. That was his first mission. Like, out of all things, to get anywhere, it was like, how do I learn how to catch the bus from wherever I'm at to get to Waller? So whatever Waller had, it was a piece for him there. I don't know what it is, but to me, just being his mom and seeing him every day get up, and he practiced, and he got to the point he was independent. He was able to leave home by himself, get on the bus, and we'll watch always from a distance. He wouldn't think we were there, but we always was there watching. He was, I did it by myself. Yeah, you did. You thought you did, but at the end of the day, is anything to encourage him. But I really want to really tell you guys how important Waller was for him, and it'd be days he'd just sit there. It wouldn't even be about skating. It'd be like being among the other skaters, meeting his friends there, or waiting for them to get off work. And like, he'd make a joke, I don't have a job now, so I could just wait for you guys at Waller, until he was offered a job, to be working at Park and Rec. So it's not just Waller, it's also Park and Rec. I feel you guys also gave him a second wind as far as wanting to be motivated to keep going in his blindness. And Zion was real resilient. That's always how he's been. Like how you guys said with Larry, like he spoke his mind, very direct, but he also knew how to communicate, like how you said. And he taught me that even as a mom. Like, if you have a difference, you still can talk it out, And so when you guys said little things, it just jogged things. And then socks. Zion loves socks. He's out of control. He loves colored socks. So he would have had you stressed with the socks. So me being here today was just to kind of sit and let my mom and my auntie take the lead. But as I was hearing your guys' tears, it's like I felt it. I'm drawn to it. And it was like, let me go let you guys know that if it wasn't for Park and Rec and if it wasn't for Waller, I don't think he wouldn't have made it as far as being positive, because he felt I always got to turn it on. Anytime somebody's talking to me, let them know I've been shot, but I made it through. And look at me. So it was like he always anytime he had an opportunity, he always made sure he said that, And so it's just his character already. And now I kind of understand the journey of his life. It makes sense just because it was short-lived, but at the same time, it was so positive, and it brought so many people together, all ages and all denominations and all race and creed. It didn't matter. And Zion was like that. And I think, too, living in New York, you have so many minorities. So it's like he never seemed like that, didn't see color. And he didn't. And it's just, to me, I was like, that's a real San Francisco person. So like, I had to get up and just kind of let you guys know that, like, listening, and it, all because of Larry. Don't even know Larry, and it just brought up all this stuff for me. So I just kind of want to let you guys know, Zion, him in San Francisco, and while it's like I have to stay here now, no matter what, because it's like this is where he's always going to be. If he had a choice to be anywhere, if his spirit could flow anywhere, it would be here. And thank you guys. I just want to let you guys know that. And sorry I didn't fill out the blue card. It's okay. I wasn't going to talk.
It's all right.
So, is it okay if one of his friends had came up and spoke at this time?
Yes.
Of course.
Okay. Thank you.
And before you leave, Miss Williams,
Okay.
as a mother, I just want to thank you for being here. That was so courageous of you. I don't know if I could speak when I lost my boy, if I lost my boy. So thank you for being here, and know that we really honor your son.
Yes.
And one little
has been a bright light.
one little magical postscript. Larry and Zion did meet
They did?
at the Waller skate opening.
Oh, I didn't know. I was there, didn't know. Really? Wow. They already crossed paths. So they hanging out right now. I just want to let y'all know.
Yeah.
They for sure hanging out.
He's teaching Larry how to
Larry's asking.
Like, you know, so.
He's showing
Larry's
Larry how to
asking Zion to
skateboard.
teach him to skate and to teach him to
Larry's
drum, because
learning.
Larry was a lot of things. Rhythmic, I'm not sure, was one of them.
Okay. And he loved to drum, and he didn't even he just self-taught. It was just something. And he loves old school music, so he had an old soul.
Yeah.
So I know him and Larry right now are talking about different songs, because Zion is way past his age for the most part. But thank you guys.
Thank you for bringing him to life for us today.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Commissioner Louie and then Phil.
I don't.
I think Commissioner Anderson said it. There's a lot of mothers in this room,
Yes.
and so thank you for coming up and speaking, not just about Zion, about his life, and for giving us the hope and inspiration and what Zion meant to you and your family. So, I mean, it takes a lot.
Yeah.
But we're all moms too.
Right.
It's not an easy job.
Only boy.
And, for what happened to him in 2021, and he said, he would tell you, Mom, I did this, I did that. That inspires all of us.
Yes.
So we want to thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. If anyone else would like to speak coming up, I will be starting the timer, though, only because our agenda is so very, very long today. So there's a little timer on the front. You'll have 2 minutes, but the chair is always allowed to extend that if she so chooses.
I just wanted to say, may light perpetual shine upon them, all of our fallen colleagues.
Anyone else want to speak? Okay. Seeing none, I'm going to close public comment, and we'll move on to the general manager's report. There is another portion of general public comment later in the agenda. Thank you, everyone, for coming this morning.
Ashley?
Oh,
All right,
what? Oh,
Come on up.
yeah, if there's others that want to come on up, just
Don't
maybe
be shy.
line up
Just-
against the
just
wall
start
here, because I
lining up.
can't, you're all sitting in this spot that it's completely out of my view, so when you start to stand, I can't see you. Come on up.
Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Matthew Madden. I met Zion through skateboarding. He was a very close friend of mine. Although younger than me, someone I truly looked up to. I know all of us in the back, us skaters are not, very good at this talking stuff, but he was very inspirational to all of us. And we would frequently say he was the glue that kept all of our friendships together. He was someone you could confide to, someone that would motivate you, and truly want you to be the best version of yourself. Zion, he is, I frequently tell the rest of our friends, he is skateboarding, and we've always said it's more than a board, although it's this piece of wood that, unites us and brings us all together. The friendships and memories and experiences we made together through all of our adventures, our little quirky inside jokes, he was just really the best to ever do it. And I don't think you meet too many people like Zion in a lifetime, and I think we're all very honored to be a part of not only his skateboard journey, but everything he's ever done with, his grip tape company, wanting to, make sure that we're all taken care of. He's just a very sweet man, and we are all trying our best every day to honor him through skateboarding, through staying together, and just really wanting to, keep his memory alive. We all love him and miss him dearly. He's the best to ever do it.
Hey,
Thank you.
Matthew,
Thank you so much.
anytime you speak from the heart, it's a winner.
Yeah,
Very well done.
you're blowing us away.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Anyone else hiding back there that wants to come up? Okay.
And when we are finished hearing from our guests, Commissioner Jupiter Jones would like to speak.
Thank you. I feel like, something that touched my heart. So growing up in San Francisco, growing up around skateboarders, I just, want to acknowledge that a lot of times skateboarders and skateboarding is still something that's seen as a criminal activity. And I want us to just remember this moment and what you said, Matthew, about that Zion is skateboarding and this positive and this light, just to remember that, because skate parks are part of our skate system, right? Or excuse me, are part of our park system. Skateboarding is a recreation activity. This is all within our responsibility to make sure that we're protecting, advocating for, and we're still seeing instances where our young skateboarders are criminalized, are met not with welcoming arms. And I just really want us to remember that when these things come before our commission, is we remember Zion, we remember how we feel today, remember that positivity when we're making these decisions. Thanks.
Well, I have always felt that when we lose someone, the world should stop and grieve with us. It just doesn't seem fair sometimes that cars are going by and birds are flying overhead and you can hear people out. I just feel like the world should stop and grieve with us. So I'm just going to take a moment to collect myself. But we do have to continue on with the business of the commission. So, Ashley, just give us a couple seconds and then do your thing.
Well, I think we did just that today. I think we stopped and grieved together. So with that, we'll move on to what is usually a very cheerful general manager's report.
Right, we're going to turn the page, and here's how we're going to turn it. All four people that were honored today that we lost love parks. And they would definitely want us celebrating the good things that are happening in our parks, the exciting things that are happening in our parks. So that's what we're going to do now. And I actually am going to start with skateboarding. I'm going to go off script a little bit. So for this crowd, because we've got a moment, I want to share with you the department's intentions to create what we think could seriously be one of the city's best new urban skate plazas at UN Plaza. And our intention, and we are hoping to start construction soon, working with Delux and Thrasher and all of you and some of the skateboard leaders, is to take some of the really best elements that have been illegally skated in San Francisco skate culture over decades and make them legal and put them in UN Plaza, improving the skate service so that you all can skate there with City Hall in the background. And you can help do something that's important for our city. You know the story, right? We have what I refer to as negative placemaking happening now in UN Plaza with some really unhealthy activity and illegal activity. And we want to take something, San Francisco is known around the world as being the best city for urban skating almost anywhere. It is a destination, and I've learned a lot about this over the course of my job. And we want to, rather than, keep that, instead of keeping that underground, we want to celebrate San Francisco's skate history. We want to tell those stories, and we want to do it at UN Plaza, where we're asking all of you to help us steward that place so that people want to come and watch, people want to come and create the community that Matthew, you talked about so eloquently. People can grab a bite to eat, and if you're not a skater, you'll be able to play some chess, maybe get some exercise on some fitness equipment, maybe play ping pong or tech ball. I'll tell you what that is later. But we want to create a space that honors San Francisco skating community. More to come. You've read a little bit about it in the papers. We have our project manager over there, our hero, Dan Maurer. But this is a big deal, and I'm inviting all of you to help steward that space and do something special for San Francisco. Okay? All right, next item. The William Hammond Hall Awards.